Hey guys, just checking I'm live on Facebook as well. Yep, I was going to say please don't let me down on Facebook. Anyway, hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back at you with another video. And as per usual, I'm recording both on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Hope you enjoy it. And this is an idea I had a while back. I probably mentioned it in part one. I hope I made a clear description in the description section of the video, but yeah, this is an idea about, at one point on both the British show The Dragon's Den and the American version Shark Tank, I believe, as I said in part one, it was founded by the Japanese guy, as it happens, Peter Jones. Dragon's Den was talking about it and said he thinks it was, he wasn't 100% sure, but he thinks it was from someone from Japan, the format. But anyway, at one point there were 3 dyslexic people on both the Shark Tank and the Dragon's Den, and I thought about a network where they could network. I think initially I just thought of a group name to say that, so that it was to inspire dyslexics, but I don't know if it could be built into a brand. I don't know if it'd be a for-profit or a not-for-profit, whatever, but or whatever it might be. But at the moment it's just at the ideas stage, and I'm just sharing ideas as per usual on my Facebook and YouTube respectively, and hoping something positive can come from it, especially for dyslexics all around the world. And on that note, these are pointers number 11 to 20. I've been out to have a nice meal. I've been quite lucky. A nice meal, paneer, some nice Indian food, and paneer is like a soft cheese, I think, and also I think it's a mix between milk and cheese. So it's a soft cheese, it's described as in most restaurants, Indian restaurants. I recommend it. I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat meat anyway. But yeah, I went to this place and to games group and all that kind of thing, and that kind of thing. But it did set me back with this, and then I had my granddad nap for a bit longer than planned. It's probably good if I have my shower early, because then I don't stay up too late, hopefully. I suppose. But anyway, I'm going into nice slide stories. But yeah, it's set me back a bit of time. But anyway, here goes. So these are points number 11 to 20 as per usual. So number 11, as I say, I hope it inspires dyslexics to believe in themselves all over the world. And I did mention in part one about how I'd love for dyslexics to be able to have maybe extra opportunities to pitch to fellow dyslexics or even entrepreneurs generally, and that kind of thing. Maybe a bit of both, or at different times. So in October and December each year from next year, I would love to see like dyslexic versions of the Shark Tank and the Dragon's Den, to give more dyslexic people opportunities to pitch our ideas. Yeah, I hope it can change perceptions. I think of like the number 11 as change for some reason. But yeah, hopefully also helping dyslexic inventors, entrepreneurs, ideas people and whatnot, and maybe seeing how the dyslexic dragons can capitalize on those things. In the past, I thought of dyslexics like guarding our ideas and sharing them with each other and not other people. But anyway, moving on to number 12. As I say, I hope it will inspire, motivate, and encourage dyslexics to believe in ourselves. Like even just hearing the story about dyslexics. I think initially the idea, as I say, was a while back, but I didn't really do much with it except for make a Facebook group. But the idea was to inspire dyslexics to believe in ourselves. In this case, by seeing that there are dyslexic entrepreneurs on the Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, respectively, I thought it was quite fitting and quite fun that there were three of them on each. Many of them had talked about being dyslexic as well, quite a few times. I think all of them have, probably, or at some point or the other. Obviously, it's not something you mention all the time, but unless you're me. But on a serious note, it's something that they have mentioned a few times, amongst other things. But hopefully, it'll also help them to promote their businesses and their brands. They can do talks about a bit more about their businesses, and maybe dyslexics could buy from each other, share ideas with each other, and that kind of thing. In the past, I thought, expanding on what I just said about a minute or so ago, about how I would have loved for us to share ideas with each other and sort of guard them as I put it, jealously guard them, so to speak, with each other and not share them with others. Although I'd still love for us to help others, but in terms of ideas, to sort of keep them between each other, I thought that would be interesting. Like, so when I saw Dyslexics going on The Apprentice, Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, or whatever, I thought it'd be cool if there was a way where we could share ideas with each other and benefit each other. I mean, that's something that could be done in the future. But in the long term, I'd love to benefit everyone. But in fact, mentorship, teaching and training is another thing that could be done for dyslexics. And I'd love to see mentors, role models, teachers, trainers, or whatever. So I suppose mentorship requires teaching and training, and I guess it's about people who have actually been there and done it, rather than just teachers who don't always practice what they preach, as in they don't always, well, who does, I guess, but they don't always, like a teacher can teach about business, and you might say, have you ever set up a business? And I want to talk, but then they might say, no, not really. If they're honest, they'd probably say all theory driven. Well, they might not even think about that themselves. That's a good point. But some would probably get offended if you ask them. But yeah, the people who have actually been there and done that and run businesses for many years. In most cases, I think multiple businesses, apparently, and had many years of success. Number 13. From a selfish point of view, I'd love for them to invest into and sponsor a Tangible. I can't imagine them donating to a Tangible, but maybe showing what dyslexics can do to it for a Tangible. Also, I think of like normally my fears of whether I'd ever get this off the ground. Would it work as well as I like? Could it be a flop? I guess every business is probably a risk for when you start it, I guess. But I think having the strength of each other's backing gives you much more chance of success. I think if I spoke to a young person who's interested in business and they said, well, someone said, I'm concerned about my son or daughter trying to run a business, and they said, I'm going to keep trying to start businesses until it works. I think that's someone who's so determined and tenacious, which is one strength that many dyslexics do have. I don't know if I have it, but I suppose I kind of do, but I have given up a few times. But tenacity, I think, is a strength that people say dyslexics have. But yeah, I do have a lot of fears. As I say, whether I get it off the ground, whether it will run well, or anywhere near as well as I'd like. Hopefully it'll exceed expectations, but who knows whether I can convince people to help it to work, or again, whether it be a flop or whatever. And again, every business, I guess, is a risk, or every new thing you do is probably going to involve some sort of risk, I imagine, pretty much. I don't know if anyone in the world has never had to work. As I say, no one's born with a silver spoon. Like, even if your parents are rich, they're probably going to push you to work at something, or some of them won't want you to be spoiled. They might say, well, this is how I had to work to build a business. So I think people think that other people have it easy, but I think no one, as I say, no one is born with a silver or golden spoon in their mouth or whatever. So yeah, unfortunately, everyone has to work. I'm not much of a working person myself, but I know, I hope that doesn't put people off. But yeah, I'm trying to think about any other fears and insecurities. I suppose if it's a flop, it would feel bad, and I suppose I like things to be just so, and I think I have to accept it might work as well as I like, as much as I might want it to generate millions or billions, trillions if I'm really trillion, and most importantly to help dyslexic people from all socio-economic backgrounds or backgrounds generally. I do have my fears, as I say, and I think that covers everything. Point number 13. Number 14, I hope they can solve problems together. Again, I think by working together, you can solve problems. And maybe, as I said in part 1, if there was like a CEO, a chief executive officer, MD, managing director, chairman or chairwoman, and all those different roles, perhaps looking at big businesses like, I mean, these dyslexic dragons and triple sharks, I'm sure obviously have experience, definitely, of making a business that works, unless there's something we don't know about them or whatever, but unless their money's fake. But I'm assuming that they know how to run a business and have done it for multiple years. In fact, the people who run the Shark Tank and Triple the Dragon's Den respectively might want to develop this idea themselves. But obviously, I hope in this case the dyslexic sharks and the former Dragon's Den members, the dyslexic dragons, I say, will want to be involved in some way, ideally. As I say, including the former members, Duncan Bannatyne and Theo Fetus, and maybe even like some of the guest sharks and dragons that had dyslexia, like Richard Branson, Emma Grede, whatever you pronounce the name, and maybe one or two others who might have been dyslexic. And I did want to stick to the dyslexic sharks and dragons themselves, but it could expand to like dyslexic entrepreneurs generally being involved in some way, or maybe more dyslexics being on the shark tank. Again, talk more about their businesses which could help them to promote brands and their products and that kind of thing. Because, one strength. I can't remember if I said this, but I was going to say I said in point number 13, like what was it I mentioned? Tenacity, as it. Sorry. Another strength we have, I was going to say, is problem solving, which I often mention, but I wanted to lead on from that point. I think I forgot to say in that order, as I mentioned. But anyway, hopefully it can exceed expectations and solve problems and help them to promote their businesses and show what dyslexics can do. And it'd be interesting to see what problems they could solve, perhaps by working together. One of the things I think is like collaborating together will make life hopefully a lot easier. As the saying goes, many hands make light work. And that was the Bible. As I'm not that religious myself. But moving on, number 15, I hope it can help dyslexics to achieve goals. Again, helping dyslexics to pitch to other dyslexics, or even entrepreneurs generally. Maybe there could be something where dyslexics get to pitch to non-dyslexics as well, to non-dyslexic entrepreneurs as well. Dyslexic and non-dyslexic entrepreneurs alike, but dyslexics get more opportunities to pitch our ideas, perhaps. Although for this one, maybe I want to stick as close as possible, to the original plan or to the description of the group. I hope it can help dyslexics to set goals and work on our dreams and that kind of thing. Number 16, it would be interesting to see what we could achieve together, working together. I'd say I'd love to be the founder of the idea. I suppose it was my idea and vision, or it still is kind of, but maybe a co-founder or something like that, and appoint someone who's a CEO, MD, chairman or chairwoman. I love the idea of having like more diversity in many ways, so like a chairwoman, and stroke or P.O.C. being chair people or whatever. It'd be good to see more dyslexics of colour doing well, but maybe like symbolically, as I said in part one, kind of Damon John could be the CEO, for instance. I don't know. I suppose they could decide between them, but who would make the best CEO or whatever. It could be the one who's had the most success in their business, one that has made the most money, or it could be someone who's from a diverse background. I was going to say a diversity eye, it wouldn't be a diversity eye, so to speak, but I say like Damon John is one for the black people and minorities to see to show what they can do, and Barbara Corcoran is one for the women and girls because she can show what women and girls can do, and maybe again she can mentor, say, girls with dyslexia to believe in themselves as well. People like Barbara Corcoran. Number 17, it would be interesting to imagine what it could achieve, as I say, and I'd say it's my idea and vision, but it could be run by, hopefully it'll be run by people much more experienced, smarter, and whatever than myself, which is probably not saying much, but in this case, hopefully there'll be some great entrepreneurs. I mean, I don't know why, but I think like Kevin O'Leary could be the CEO, I guess. So I'm not too sure, but again, it could depend on what they decide. And again, look at companies like Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, Walmart, and Fortune 500 companies, and some of the top companies in the world. They could say what makes those companies successful. You could learn from those, and they may well say some companies might not have a chairperson and it might work better, or I'm not the most popular example for some, but the late Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher in Britain said, welcome to a committee where men waste hours and keep minutes. So might be something, my view about money and like the middle class mindset to money, perhaps, like I say, penny wise but pound foolish. Like they spend a lot of time queuing up in a place or saving money rather than learning how to make more of it. Says the one wrote it originally, so but hypocritical, of course. But way off tangents. But yeah, hopefully be run by experienced people, and they can look at like what can we learn from other organisations. But I dream to make this into a brand. As I said before, I don't know if they'd want to make it a for-profit brand or not-for-profit that just empowers dyslexics, where they feel that they could attach it to their brand and make even more money, if they feel they could help them to network with each other even more. As successful entrepreneurs with dyslexia, they might feel that they have more of a connection. And maybe it could network with other projects. Sorry, don't know what happened there. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues, guys. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It seemed to have. Hope it's recording properly. Sorry. But yeah, maybe they could connect with like other dyslexic millionaires or even billionaires or whatever. Perhaps I don't know. Maybe there could be different ways to connect. Another dyslexic strength is like imagination, imagining how things could work. Sorry guys, I'm having some real bad technical issues, it looks like. But it's going to record as well as possible. But keep saying changes, keep saying it's going to log off and changes may not be saved or whatever soon. I'm not pressing anything, but anyway, sorry. But yeah, using dyslexic imagination, dyslexic strengths like imagination. And number 18, as I say, I hope that, I know I'm kind of repeating a point that I said in point number 11 and 12, I guess, where I said about I hope it will inspire dyslexics and show what we can achieve and change perceptions of dyslexia and be a positive for the world. So again, when I made the group, try to remember as much as I can, because it's a lot of time I came up with ideas, and I still kind of do, but I'm not really always very good at putting them into practice, and certainly wasn't in the past. So I made this group and sort of shelved the idea, I guess, of moving. I think that's what sometimes dyslexics do, like move on to another idea and then come back to it, especially people with ADHD are probably really good or bad at that, depending on how you look at it. But I guess seeing something through and like finishing a project would be really good. A project or adventure, so, as I put it. But yeah, obviously now discussing, I only recently thought about, only about a week or so ago, maybe in a couple of weeks ago, but maybe, but not too long ago anyway. I thought about this date, thinking about it's the 28th, like changing the perceptions of dyslexia. I think of turning negatives into positives, and I thought about discussing this in video form, basically. But yeah, initially when I made the group, I guess it was just to say there are 3 dyslexic sharks and dragons. But I thought it'd be cool if they were involved again, as I said in part 1, in terms of making and creating different things like movies, YouTube channels or YouTube videos at least, TikToks and all sorts of things like that. As I said before as well, to repeat something I said a while back, I record on both Facebook and YouTube just in case I have technical issues. Hopefully at least one of them will be recorded as well as possible. But yeah, moving on, number 19, that's it. So hopefully it will show positive things, and from a selfish point of view, I'd love for them to invest into Exam Football. I'd also love for them to invest into and sponsor Celtic, and supporting people from Africa, game makers from Africa, dyslexics in Africa, to make their own video games, invent things beyond entrepreneurs and things like that, maybe, ideally. And another thing is, I talked about in part 1, in point number 9, I think 19, 9 has 9 in it as well, number 9 in it. But I thought about books and things like that, or at least a book, or maybe several books could be made. The forward bit could be by someone like Richard Branson or Immigrant. I don't know if I'm butchering her surname again, but and then at the back there could be like an outro or something, which is like the opposite to a forward or something like that. And or it could just say intro and then outro or whatever. So it could be by other people writing things about how their dyslexia affects them and their business and whatnot. And hopefully it'd be a good chance for them to promote their businesses. And then chapter 1 could be Peter Jones, chapter 2 could be Duncan Palatine, and then Theo Peters could be chapter 3, and so on and so forth. So they all write about their journey or their story, or tell someone like a ghostwriter to write on their behalf. to say about their story, about how they started in business, how they developed it and whatnot. And there could be YouTube videos and TikToks, I'll say. There could be like one channel which says the 3 dyslexic sharks and the 3 dyslexic dragons, or even like I'm envisaging a channel where it says like 3 dyslexic sharks and 3 dyslexic dragons or whatever, and then, or the 3 dyslexic sharks and dragons, just, to keep it shorter, and then it could have each sort of linked channels which have specific channels, like the YouTube channel for Peter Jones, and then Doug Valentine, Theo Fetus, and then the other 3 respectively. So each one of those 6 have their own channels, and then maybe other like guest sharks, as I say, which have dyslexia, guest sharks and triple dragons which have dyslexia, or whatever, could have their own channels linked to that sort of video, to that sort of channel, and again helping dyslexics to promote their businesses and have opportunities to pitch and share ideas with each other and get feedback from each other, and things like that, and maybe give each other constructive criticism. And number 20, so it'd be interesting to see what could be made, created: puzzles, toys, games, books, and other merchandise. I'll say merch for short. And hopefully it'll help dyslexics of all ages all around the world. And on that note, I am out, and peace and love.